Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Mirikitani with another episode of Weighing In, brought to you by Nike Wrestling. Go to AthletePS.com for all of your Nike gear. Check out the new freaks. Resilite.com, the mat company. Please go there. Plyometric boxes, all sorts of other things. And Pure and Clean Sports. Love what those guys are doing. And make sure that you are safe this time of the year. GT, joined as always by Mark Ostrander Grant Turner. GT, I ran this by a friend who is a military, soon-to-be veteran. He's active, about to retire. What do you think about calling the red, white, and blues with the gold swoosh the Patriotics?
I mean, I definitely love the USA Americana vibe to it. I think the biggest thing on the red, white, and blues, and I think, once again, the U.S. is a very, very large domestic market for us. But this colorway does really well because it's got a gold swoosh kind of everywhere in the world. So, I like the idea. I like the
And you can be in a different country and still be patriotic to that country if that's where you're from. So maybe it works. Put it in the sug box, run it up the flagpole. So,
I can definitely do that.
If it works out, I want a free pair of shoelaces, okay?
Deal.
All right. We're on Tuesday. I think we have to start with Iowa, Penn State. I have a confession to make. I picked it 8-2. GT picked it 8-2. In the contest, I picked it 10-0 and was off by one match. So pretty close. Mark was clearly the most accurate of the three of us and had it at 5-5. So, Mark, the floor is yours.
Let me defend myself here.
Okay.
Penn State's really, really good. I thought they could get Carvered at a few weights. They got freshmen wrestling. On my defense, the freshmen did not do what they had done all year long. Blaze at 133 only scored 4 points, and he had majored or teched or pinned everybody all year long. So he wrestled Drake. It's a good match. Drake had an opportunity right at the end. Got in on a single, got the leg, but wasn't able to hold it for more than a second. So wasn't a great opportunity, but it was an opportunity. 157, it was a good match. I think it was another 4-3, 4-2 match. Williams wrestled pretty well. Actually, Iowa in certain situations wrestled a little better than I thought they would. 174 with Gabe Arnold wrestling. Haynes gave up one takedown on Haynes, who's one of the best in the world, obviously. So, but Tom Brand said there's a gap between Iowa and Penn State. And
Let's talk about 184, Mark.
184.
Let's talk about 184.
No offense. Neither guy has an offense.
Let's talk about who won the match, Mark.
Penn State won the match on a riding time point. And I don't have a problem with that. The problem is neither of these guys are going to be national champs if they can't score points. Right now, I'd say the front runner to win a sational title at 184 is Missouri's kid,
Aeden Sinclair.
Yeah,
a friend of mine said, okay. That's an interesting vibe. Let's come back to 184 and whether or not taking a lot of risk in a weight class where everybody's so good at go behinds and everything else. I'm teasing you, but and listen, a result does not mean you were right. But I thought Rocco Welsh should be ranked number 1 all year.
Yep, you said that
because he was a runner-up, lost to Starace. I know he took losses that year, but avenged most of them. Last year, he was a red shirt and went undefeated, and he went to, let's just put it this way. If we're just being kind, made a lateral move from Ohio State to Penn State. A lot of people would say he made an upgrade. He certainly didn't make a downgrade. Let's just put it that way. Okay, and he hadn't lost. The argument I got was, well, they don't wrestle anybody. It's like, well, they don't ever wrestle anybody the first half of the year, and all these other dudes are ranked number 1. So I don't get it. Anyway, GT, overall thoughts on the duel, like just impressions. I'll say this very quickly, Mark. I knew we were going to tease each other about this. Your points are well made. Here's the problem for Iowa. You're like, well, they wrestled pretty good, and you're not wrong. They got beat 9 out of 10 matches, and the one match they won, they didn't do a single move for the last 6 minutes of the match, including laying on their belly for 2 minutes in the second period and not getting warned, which I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah. And I'm not arguing with any points anybody's making. I think Iowa had 2 takedowns the whole meet. 10 matches, 2 takedowns. I mean, when was the last time you saw that?
I'll say this quickly, and then I will actually, GT, sorry to say, hey, what do you think? And then interrupt you before you can answer. Apologize. I actually thought Ryder Block wrestled pretty well, but all right, Grant, we'll shut up. Go.
Well, to channel my inner Denny Green from the NFL, they are who they thought they were. Or they are who we thought they were. I mean, Penn State's an insanely good wrestling team. I think that they showcased it once again, going into Carver Hawkeye Arena, some freshmen there, to Mark's point, maybe the first time wrestling in Carver in a dual meet scenario. Just basically showed some veteran like presence there. I mean, once again, really, really good wrestling from Penn State's actions, to your guys' point as well. You know, Iowa didn't look very good offensively. You know, I think there was a comment on Twitter, like maybe more stalling calls than takedowns, which is not historically how Iowa wrestles. But once again, when you're wrestling those guys at that caliber, I think now Penn State has 6 individuals ranked number 1 in the nation. So that, I mean, once again, going up against anything like that, which is a juggernaut, Iowa has some really, really good wrestlers. And I thought that, to you guys' point as well, Ryder Block wrestled pretty well. I thought Jordan Williams wrestled pretty well. It's hard to see Michael Caliendo, as good as he is, basically be 0-7 against Messenbrink. So there were some really good things. I mean, also one of your big guns goes down in Angelo Ferrari against a guy that, you know, once again, you guys have talked about, could have been potentially the number 1 ranked wrestler in the nation prior to that, based off of how you guys do rankings and what your thoughts are. I talked to David about that as well, is that like Ferrari's also beaten Sinclair, which then Sinclair beat McAnally. So I was like, okay, I'm fine with Angelo being number 1. You know, and once again, now Rocco Welsh has beat Ferrari in a very, you know, kind of a low scoring affair. But I think there was another comment that was made about kind of, you know, wrestling on a knee. I think Tom Brands addressed it. I think some of the media addressed it, you know, whether that's, you know, basically stalling or if there's a tactical advantage to that. But I think when you think about this duel, there is a lot of probably separation between the Penn State team and the Iowa team at this juncture in that duel. And I would also like to say, just in general, that we didn't get to see Mo wrestle Barr, which would have been like a top, you know,
top 4 matchup, one
top
person
4 matchup, right? In that in that environment, right? So, you know, I think that there's a lot to maybe dissect on each individual match, but I think that there's just a tip of the cap to how Penn State arrived in Carver and how they handled that environment and how they wrestled and won the close matches. I've been on the opposite side of duels where you wrestle really good and you still lose 8 out of 10 because it's just tough matches, right? So I just think that there's a lot of season left for Iowa to kind of continue to build into the Big Ten championships. We're going to discuss Iowa versus Nebraska, which I think could be a very interesting and very tight duel.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
And it's, you know, it's a Friday night wrestling thing. It's going to be great. So
yeah, it's going to be awesome.
But I think to close up on my opinion of the Penn State team is that, man, those freshmen are good. They have 6 individuals that are ranked number 1 in the nation now. They are a juggernaut of a team.
I have so many notes here from what you said, but here's the most important note, GT. I'm being serious. You won the wings. So it's cool, baby. Okay, no, we had the identical picks, but you picked Penn and I picked Tech. And as soon as I saw that assassin, I'm like, oh my God. All right, I have a bunch of notes. Mark, overall thoughts on the duel, besides now that you're done apologizing for your picks?
I'm disappointed that Iowa's not getting closer. They seem like they're getting further away from Penn State.
They don't seem like it. They are.
Yeah. So, which is disappointing. But I've got so much respect for Cael Sanderson, what he's done throughout his career, what he's done as a coach at Penn State, the way he handles himself, the way their team performs every time out. So, kudos to them. But it's back to the drawing board, and I'm kind of tired of hearing we're back to the drawing board. We got to get better. Well, let's get better, period. So.
Okay, I have a lot of notes. So, first of all, 6 number ones. I'd be very interested. Mark, I will say this to you because GT would just read our rankings. I don't ever remember ranking a team that had 6 number ones. I know we only did it for like 5 years, but I don't know if there's ever been ranked. I know there's only ever been 5 champs, but you could have 8 guys ranked 1, but I don't know if that's ever been the case. Can either one of you guys remember something like that?
The only time that I could possibly think of that would be in the heyday of when Okie State had all like Hendricks, Rochel, Pendleton, Mako.
Yeah. The
Scott.
5 champs. They had the 5 champs. Yeah.
But they could have had as high of a number as like individually ranked because all those guys were like legit. But that would be okay. Maybe one of the Penn State teams could have had like 5 at one point in time.
And maybe one of those Iowa teams when they were on that run when they had like 8 or 9 in a row. Yeah. But anyway, I don't think anyone's ever had 7. Let's just put it that way. So, and I know rankings are just rankings, but I think that's an important thing to note. Second thing, this loss is historical. It was a 29-point difference. They said they hadn't lost by this much since they wrestled OU like in 1966, I think. Something crazy. Okay. Here's the thing that was weird for me. When I'm filling out the form on Matt Kings, you kind of have to do something a little different if you're trying to win. Putting down Penn State 10 times in a row didn't feel crazy to me. It felt like it was a reach at – I've been on the Rocco train all year, so that one wasn't a reach for me. Mirasola's been going forward in matches, literally, and Keeter's been going backwards in matches. The one that they lost, Nasir Bailey's a lot bigger than Braden Davis. Like, Braden Davis was going to have to get on a full feed mode, but Braden Davis will be 10 pounds bigger by March. Like, those guys know how to get guys big. But they're one stall call away from that match being in overtime and them getting shut out. That's crazy. And so the Carver thing, so Mark, I'm not teasing you, but you've been watching matches in the state of Iowa longer than me and Grant have. The thing about Carver was the crowd was loud. That was part of it. The crowd was hostile. That was part of it. But if you go back to like the Tom and Terry days, like I remember the duel where Corey Bays and Kendall Cross got broken by the Brands. I mean, broken. And Kendall Cross will tell you he got broken because he came back and figured out a way to win the NCAA semis and then beat the kid from NC State in the finals. But it was pressure. They were just going forward all the time. I don't know who on Iowa is the guy that goes forward all the time. I think it's Caliendo. Okay? I think Caliendo is their most offensive wrestler. Kennedy's fairly offensive, but he didn't wrestle, and I don't know why, but that's irrelevant really to this conversation. And Caliendo just has the severe misfortune of being in the same weight class as Mitchell Messenbrink. Like, he's an incredibly skilled, as GT alluded to, wrestler that goes forward a lot. But the Carver thing, it's sort of dead and gone. Like, because it's not they don't go forward. Like, Penn State just kind of beats you. Like, they're just good at wrestling. Iowa was really good at wrestling, but it's like you're going to have to bring a lunch bucket and a helmet and maybe like a club from prehistoric days to survive that place. And it doesn't feel that way now. I mean, Nasir Bailey went crazy. Like, he won nationals. He beat blown up 33-pounder on one takedown. Here's the next thing, and you guys are both great coaches and very good tactically. Here's how you can tell if wrestling on a knee is stalling. When the guy is losing, does he stay on the knee? And he didn't. When Rocco got away and Ferrari had to take him down, he's on both feet. And I love the Ferrari family. I'm actually biased towards them. And I'm not saying you can't score from a knee, but when you absolutely have to go get one, you're not on a knee, then it's a tactic. It's not a lot. It's not a ton of offense. The next note that I had was all these people that think they're going to catch Penn State, they got one senior. They have one senior, Levi Haynes. I'm not saying Will Henkel's going to be the next Levi Haynes, but he just won the Southern Scuffle. They could also play shuffle the lineup and wrestle Tyler Kasak at 57 next year, wrestle PJ Duke at 65 next year, and bump Messenbring to 74 next year. And you could have 3 champs right there. And they had 5 champions at the Southern Scuffle. I don't know who's catching these dudes. So the last thing I have is, and Mark, maybe you're the guy to talk about this. What happens to Iowa if they lose to Iowa State in a duel? They lose as badly as they did to Penn State in a duel. They don't trophy, because the Endine thing, they do not look like a trophy team right now. What, if anything, happens to the job status of that staff?
I don't think it's going to affect the job status because of Penn State's just a juggernaut, just like
no. But if they take 5th at nationals,
if they take 5th at nationals, they take 5th at nationals. I don't think it's gonna. They're gonna go headhunting for job positions because of it, because it's kind of how you run your program. And Iowa loves the way Iowa wrestles normally. I'm sure they weren't thrilled with this past weekend's performance, because that's not how Iowa usually wrestles. My biggest concern is over half the teams are transfers. So they haven't been cultured into the Iowa style. And it takes a while to learn it and be able to do it. And I think we're seeing that by a lot of guys that are there right now, have not been in there long enough. Obviously, Caliendo's been there now this is his 3rd year at Iowa. So he gets it, but he's always been kind of a go out and get you nonstop wrestling type. I'm not sure any of the other transfers were like that coming in. So that's something when you're bringing in transfers, you better find somebody that fits into your style a little bit better than what they're actually doing right now. That's just my opinion.
So I'm looking at their lineup. They have 4 seniors, 25, 33, 65, and 74. And they had a senior at 97. Their optimal lineup had 5 seniors.
Yep.
Penn State's got 1 senior. And you don't have anybody on Iowa's roster that you go, this guy is definitely going to be better than Dean Peterson, or definitely going to be better than Drake Ayala, or definitely going to be better than Mikey Caliendo, or definitely going to be better than Patrick Kennedy. So you'd have to feel like they're going to step back at those weights. Now, again, they'll go portal, but now you're in this cycle of what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a really good 25-pounder in the room. I don't think he's healthy right now. I think he got banged up at the national duels, but he's a true freshman. I think he's legit. I think he's going to be able to compete.
I think DeLuca's great. I think Ludington's great. I think, maybe Gabe Arnold at 74 is great. Okay. I'm just saying none of those guys you would go like Harvey Ludington will do better next year than Brody Sampson, but I don't think he's going to do better than how Mo and Dean was doing.
Yeah.
I don't think Harvey Ludington that you think Leo DeLuca would beat Troy Spratley, but Dean Peterson did. I don't think whoever they put at 33 is going to be better than a two-time returning finalist. I'm saying like there's some natural regression there unless something crazy happens, right?
Agreed.
Okay, but now you're regressing from losing 32-3.
Yeah.
GT, anything else before we jump over to the upsets?
Well, I think it's there's a lot of time between years for a lot of these guys to get better on both sides, or injuries to happen, or how the college transfer or NIL stuff will develop for either program. And I think that there's a couple other places that are going to have some similar issues that are, we had talked about this previously, like the Oklahoma State room. They're going to have a lot of people that are backups that aren't going to be able to wrestle, or they're going to have to find places for those guys to wrestle. I think Penn State's going to have the same problem. They have a lot of young guys and they have a lot of really good guys coming in. They're going to have to, basically shuffle around and make sure that they can get all their best lineups into in positions in order to be successful. I think, and I don't necessarily have it right off the top of my head, we can probably have a discussion about that later, is the amount of recruits that are coming in that are freshmen for Iowa that potentially could be, game changers right out the gate, because we have seen that explosion of young talent be able to come into the collegiate ranks and, basically kind of shock everybody and make their way into the collegiate powerhouses. We have, people, and there's not many of them out there that can do that, but I think that there's a lot of recruits that are starting to believe that when they come into the college ranks that, a national championship as a redshirt freshman or a true freshman is a very possible idea. So I think, to your guys' points, there's a lot of probably of the points and roster questions on whether or not it's a progression or if it's a detriment to like how they're currently wrestling, whether it's, hey, this guy's ranked number 6. Are we going to be either plus or minus where we are at right now? So I think there's a lot to be, kind of see what happens over the next month and a half and just see where those teams wind up. But it looks to be like rinse and repeat for the Penn State lineup when they're only losing Levi Haynes.
Well, the insane thing about that is like, listen, like they've got Kasak redshirting. They got the other Marisola as a backup. They got Nate Desmond somewhere as a backup. They got Masa Ono next year coming off redshirt. Like it's nuts. Like they could redshirt Luke next year if they wanted him to get ready for the Olympic trials and wrestle Desmond if he's small enough. I don't know if he is anymore. They can wrestle Ono at 33. They can bump Blaze to 41. Like they can bump. They have to figure out 49. Okay. Or no, they don't. I'm sorry. Van Ness is back. What am I saying? They're all back. Like, and the other thing is like they have dudes like, who do we pick to beat Masa Ono next year? You better pick a guy who's unbelievably good on top, because he's going to take everybody down. Like Brendan McCrone's the kind of guy that can beat him. It's like losing 11-0 and pick top and cradle him. Oklahoma State's got the kind of roster that you could go, these guys could challenge, because right now the only guy they have who's a senior, I believe, is Doucette. The problem is they're going to have to wrestle Drayshawn Ross as a true freshman at arguably the hardest weight in the country to be a true freshman. Now, he is from Fort Dodge, so we know he's tough. And we certainly know he's world-class age group-wise. But it's also just hard at that weight. It's a lot easier to be good at 125 as a true freshman than 285 as a freshman. So I think it's fascinating. Like the other team that's really good right now is Ohio State, but they lose Mendez, they lose Karchla. That might be, and they lose Gallagher. I mean, but they got dudes up there. I think they move Buzakis up, Davino up. I mean, Feldman comes back. I mean, that's a team that could challenge normally. Like that's a team that
no challenge for second place.
Right, but I'm saying in a normal year, like they could
they'd be really good. Yeah.
Yeah, they could score 100 points. It'd be crazy. So Okay. Let's talk about, before we get to the upsets, let's talk about Jax. So Oklahoma State, and they have no obligation to tell us anything that's the truth, but they're wrestling Jax Forrest, okay? The 5 dates thing is, it's out the window. He's going to just wrestle in everything. He went to the Iowa State Open because he has to get to 15 matches to get an RPI. The most important thing, if you don't want to nerd out and be me and be a total dork about this, is you have to have 15 matches to get a piece of the seeding criteria. Otherwise, you lose it to every single person in the bracket. And how they seed the nationals is they do this head-to-head. It's an algorithm, but they run everybody against everybody. And if, let's say, Mark is 31-1 against everybody, and Grant is 29-2, then that's how they decide it on how it goes. Okay, now there's wiggle room within the algorithm. Okay, and then the seeding committee has something where, like, let's say that was the case, but the guy that was second had beaten the guy who's head-to-head, then they're allowed to go, well, we're going to count that for more. But if you're taking a slice of the pie, which is 10 to 15% for RPI, I think it's 10, and taking a 0 in that, that's not smart. Oklahoma State did this a couple years ago, played Shuffle Bill and moved around Jacoby Smith and Joe Smith and the kid at 84, and Joe Smith ended up being the 33 seed. I remember calling John and telling them, like, John, if you do this, Joe's going to be the 33 seed. He's going to have a wild card, and then he's going to have Alex Marinelli, who's going to be fresh, and Joe's going to be tired. He's like, that's not going to happen. I'm like, this isn't what I want. This is the math. So, like, David's playing it from the front end, like, we're not doing that. And Joe was different because he'd wrestled 74 all year and came down, so he had 0 criteria. Like, he had to place in the Big 12s to get into the tournament. So it's not an identical scenario. Scenario is almost never identical. But anybody that thinks they're still going to wrestle Ronnie Ramirez is out of their minds. The only way that Jax doesn't wrestle is if he gets hurt or if he loses a bunch of matches, which I think would be more likely that he gets hurt than he starts losing a bunch of matches. So he's up to 5. By the way, he had a match in the final against the Cuban. For people who don't know, the Cuban's really freaking good, you know, age group world medalist, and he's the one suing the NCAA for eligibility. Okay. Tegan Jamison wrestled. That's very interesting to see. That's another guy next year where Oklahoma State, as GT mentioned, not specifically, but alluded to, logjam next year. They're going to have not only Ronnie Ramirez, not only Jax Forrest, but the Rainies, Vega, Swiderski, and Jamison, and Robidoux, all between 33 and 57. Not quite sure how that all works out, but those are first world problems. Okay. And GT, Mark made a phone call, got his guy Big Tone to wrestle in a college open this weekend.
I think he still has a semester of eligibility left, and they're going to use him.
They probably in NAI, GT, make the call.
I hear there's possible transfer portal coming up. So we'll see.
We just had to get Big Tone on the air one more time, GT, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love first name Mark.
First name Mark is first name Mark.
You know, I mean, the Cyclone Open was a really good. If you go back, just check some of the results from there. There's some really good wrestling that happened.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the Jax Forrest debate, I think my own personal opinion is that I think it's the Jax Forrest show for the rest of the year. You know, I think it's, you know, go and do what we got to be able to do, get him the matches that he needs to be able to go get. Cyclone Open is, you know, once again, more like NCAA Division I opponents. So you're getting more of those like kind of matches in to get all the way up to your, whatever it was, 12, 15 matches in order to get to your RPI. You're probably going to have him go to another open at some point in time just to get some more of those matches rather than just regular duels. I don't know where you go and do that, but I'm assuming that they're going to find some sort of open that's, 4 or 5 matches, try to get some of that stuff figured out for Jax so that he can be seeded. Because he's going to get a shot at a whole bunch of really good guys, in the Big 12s. So.
Yep. I'm pulling up the Oklahoma State wrestling schedule. And so I think Jax is 5-0 now. I believe that's right. So Missouri would be 6, Utah Valley 7, Northern Iowa 8, Iowa State 9, Little Rock 10, VTech 11, Iowa 12. He actually might be okay now. That might do it because he's going to wrestle at least 3 matches in the Big 12. That gets him to 15.
Yep.
That might have been all they need to do. So GT, that might have been enough. And I'm sure David Taylor is very grateful that Jax didn't get a bye first round.
There you go.
Gives you some wiggle room. It's because you don't know if you'll get a bye in the first round of the Big 12s. It's like a 12 or 14 person bracket. So there are a few buys. But that's probably it. It's probably what's going to happen. Did you agree, Mark?
Yeah, I would imagine that's who they're going to wrestle this year. And as long as he stays healthy, yeah, because he's going to be in the hunt. I still think it's a loaded weight bracket. So we'll see what happens.
One of us picked Blaze and Jax in the finals in October.
And you'll probably be right, David. I just have a hard time overlooking Illinois and Ohio State at 133. They're both really good quality kids.
It was hard to pick over Lucas Bird. I was as high on Davino as anybody in this group, but I think Davino collectively across America has surprised people in how good he is. So, and we're still trying to figure out how good the Drake Ayala win is, right? Because Drake's not wrestled like Drake Ayala. So it's hard to tell. All right, probably the single biggest upset of the weekend is Nico Provo beats Vincent Robinson. That's what bumped Luke to number 1. And it was one of those 1-1 matches, and then Provo just hit him like in a real slick, low-level attack and finished so clean. It was an obvious takedown. And then, Mark, the match that we talked about, Biskins against Valencia, same duel. Biskins beat Valencia 14-5.
Believe me, I picked Valencia to win that match.
Me too. Yeah, we both did, right?
I don't know what's going on. My picker's just off right now. I don't know what's going on. It could be tired. Maybe I've lost my touch. But
too much time in the library?
Probably. I'm not. I got rid of the library. Tore it down. It's gone. But I had so much faith in Valencia coming in. I picked him to be an All-American. I thought he'd be right in the round of top 4 in the country. I kind of thought that's where he'd end up. And just by his freestyle. But obviously there's something going on that he's not – doesn't have that hunger that I thought he'd have. Because you don't lose to guys when you're that hungry.
I'm still not convinced he's a 49. I'm just still – because here's the thing. He's going to make 143 for Olympic trials.
Yeah.
I mean, right, GT? There's no way Aden Valencia is not going to go 65 kilos when he was 2 seconds away from beating Real Woods, who's sitting in Final X. He can't bump to 74. Even 70 is too short. So, all right, let me fly through these upsets. Thanks again to Flo for doing this. I'm not going to mention guys that get beat that are not at least like blood round guys because it's all kind of the same, like 13-33. Devin Wasley, number 31, beat Dylan Bechtold, beat 12. That's a fairly substantial win. And then Dylan Bechtold goes and gets beat by the number 26 guy, 11-2. Navarro from Northwestern beat Nico Rivera. Nico Rivera has been ranked really high during the year. We talked about Provo. Chris Moore beat Brock Mantanona, 20 beating 8. Pinto took a loss to Purdue. Saldano took a loss to West Virginia. West Virginia beat Oklahoma, and they did it by beating Saldano and then Rune Lawrence, the true freshman, pinning DeAnthony Parker. OU's having a rough year, man. Like we talked about Bedlam, like it's not good. Julian Tagg loses to Hayden Drury. Julian Tagg is like a former world team member. Dylan Shavers down to 25 and lost to an unranked guy. I don't have any idea what's going on with his season. Mirasola, number 12, beat number 5 Keeter. That's interesting. I mean, we talked about Rocco Welsh beating Ferrari. I feel like we're going to come back to 184 now that I see that. Mantanona majored Lenny Pinto, 12 beat 10. Talked about Biskins. So let's talk about 184. So Mark, you said something. My buddy said the same thing. He's like, Sinclair's going to win nationals because he's the only one that takes a shot. Okay. Not sure that that's completely true, but it kind of feels true. McAnally went to overtime with Nebraska with Silas Allred. If you would pick, all right, I'll just open it up. How do you see that weight going? And how important is it? This is a bigger picture thing. Like, it's so hard now to be offensive because guys are lightning quick on reattacks now. Like, the reattack is the new shot. Like, you're just trying to snap guys into shots on you so then you can go score.
Yeah, that'd be great if somebody shot. Here's the problem. You got 84-pounders, and neither of them shoot. There was maybe 2 shots in that whole match before the overtime, and then right toward the end, Ferrari made some half-assed attempts to try to grab a leg and didn't really come very close to it. But, I mean, that was it. So if there's not going to be any shots, there's going to be no, second chance points there, reattacks. I'd say right now Missouri's in the lead. I think he's probably talent-wise got the most skills to score points, and that's going to be really important. I'd say probably Minnesota's going to be number 2 because I've actually seen him shoot. I've actually seen him finish a match in the third period with a beautiful shot. I haven't seen it from anybody else. So that's my pick.
What's really interesting is it feels like Sinclair, if he just wrestles as good as he is locked into, at worst, the 2 seed. Because the other 3 guys are all going to wrestle each other, and they're going to be 1, 2, 3 with each other. It's just where Sinclair slots in. But he's lost to Ferrari, and he's beaten McAnally. So what would be interesting is if McAnally won the Big Tens, Sinclair would be the 1 seed.
Yep.
As it stands right now, Rocco would be the 1 seed at the Big Tens, and the other 2 guys would have to wrestle each other in the semis. Have we seen Ferrari wrestle Sinclair this year? That did not happen in National Duel, so we haven't seen it yet, right?
Ferrari and Sinclair, yeah. Ferrari beat Sinclair.
Yeah, Ferrari.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
In a wild, wild match, and it was all on the mat. It was scramble after scramble.
Yeah. That's right. GT, we were actually watching that match together. I apologize. Senior moment. So, any thoughts? Your thoughts, GT, on set?
I have a bit of a, I don't know. I think that we all think that Aeden Sinclair is top tier, probably in a tier kind of above maybe a lot of the nation, because we're kind of talking about like Rocco, Aden, McAnally, Ferrari kind of in their own little bubble right here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think if we look at some of the other kind of guys in there, especially within the Big 12, I mean, Zach Ryder is still getting better. I think everybody knows like how good Zach Ryder is as far as like his ability to be a wrestler, but like he's going to probably be the next guy up when it comes to, the Big 12 finals. I think it's going to be probably Sinclair is probably the number 1, and then Ryder the number 2. Then you throw in like Isaac Dean and Saldano, and that kind of makes that next bubble or next tier.
Yep.
And as you guys know, that college wrestling is pure pandemonium sometimes. what if one of those three knocks off Sinclair? Then you have a whole mess of everything else going on. Now, once again, we're not talking about like a humongous drop down. We're talking about Aeden Sinclair maybe being a 2 type 3 ranked guy in the nation. And those other guys are basically 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yep.
It's not outside of the realm of possibility where those guys can knock off each other from time to time. But I think we clearly think that those 4 guys are in a tier by themselves, but losses happen all the time. So I think as much as we like kind of look at some of the 84 pounders and like kind of the tactical stuff that Mark had been mentioning about, you know, basically shot, reshot, or not taking as much offensive action against those guys, some of those guys are really, really hard to score on. And I think McAnally and probably Sinclair probably have proven over time that they're probably the more offensive-minded guys. I think Ferrari has the ability to score a ton of points. I think he's probably extremely talented. I think Rocco Welsh, depending upon the matchup, can score a whole bunch of points. But I think in that duel, it didn't showcase those guys' athletic abilities in order to go get anything. And that could be like a tactical thing. It could be like, you know, Ferrari's just that good at those reattacks that, you know, you just kind of slow the pace down and maybe becomes a 1 takedown match or a ride out situation. But I mean, that's completely, you know, kind of the point that you guys were alluding to is it like those guys want to look to score points. And I think that the more that they get on their offense, you're going to see a lot more fireworks against that top tier bubble between those 4 guys. And I would love to see those guys put a little bit more into the offensive action and have a match that goes 10-8. It's probably not, I mean, that's just me as a fan. It's probably not the best tactical way to go about it, but I think as wrestling fans, we want to see people score points and not just win whatever it is, 4-1.
Here's David, before you go on.
Let me throw a gigantic monkey wrench into this because I think it's very interesting. Jackson Smith is out for the year. Okay, for Maryland. James Conway is 25-1. You guys want to guess who his only losses to?
You're talking about the gentleman from Franklin and Marshall?
Yes. You want
Smith.
to? He only lost to Jackson Smith. So he's undefeated. He's going to be seated in the top 4. Which means one of these dudes is going to be the 5 seed. Now, if they make Conway the 4 and the other guy the 5, it's kind of the same. Okay? But if that loss doesn't count, I'm almost positive if the guy's not in anymore. Like Caleb Larkin's loss to Jackson Joy doesn't count. Different weight class. Not identical, but same kind of thing. So I'm just telling you, like, and Grant plays these contests with us, Mark, but these contests, like the seeds versus the rankings, are going to be very interesting.
Yep.
Like, I can almost guarantee you that Conway is going to be seeded higher than he's ranked. Like, Intermat's got him at 6 behind the first 4 guys in Fishbat. And so does Flo. I'm not arguing with that. It's probably right. If we were doing it, Mark, that's probably right.
Well, I think the loss to Jackson Smith, because Jackson Smith was not undefeated when he got hurt and is out for the year. So those other the losses that he had are going to be a point where it will keep him from the number 4 seed. Even if he only has 1 loss on the year, David, he lost to somebody and he didn't wrestle any of the other top guys. Some of those guys had beaten Smith.
Here's your argument, and I'll take the counter argument, and then we're going to pick Nebraska, Iowa. Your argument mathematically is common opponents. Anybody that those guys beat Jackson Smith and Jackson Smith beat him, they lose on that criteria. The argument against that is Conway's going to win his conference. And 2 of those 3 guys in the Big Ten are not going to win their conference. Like, that has to happen. Like, all those, like McAnally and Ferrari and Welsh, only one of them can win the conference.
Yep.
Very quickly and we're going to pick it. Right now, Penn State's ranked at 150. Ohio State's at 123.5 in Intermat. Flo's got it 148.5 and 120.5. So the mat, it's either 26.5 or 20. 28.5. So we'll take the difference, 27.5. Mark, if I gave you the field in 27.5, do you take the field or Penn State?
Penn State. I'll even go 37.5. Penn State.
How many champs does Penn State have?
I think they have probably 4 or 5 champs, but I think they have 10 All-Americans.
And how many in the finals? 8?
No, I bet they have probably 6 in the finals.
Okay. All right. So let's pull this up. This is
one other note. We were talking what Grant was saying earlier. Ferrari has not been taken down in the last 2 years. His 5 matches last year he wrestled, and all of his matches this year he's yet to give up a takedown. The problem is he's not exceptionally good underneath. And so if he's trying to win matches by riding them out in overtime, it's kind of tough when you struggle a little bit to get out. So something has to change.
And he's also not getting riding time against some guys. And somebody said, like, in these certain matches, his average takedown per match is like 0.88. So basically 5 takedowns in 6 matches.
Yep.
So, okay. So GT is the defending champ. Let's get this. Mark, GT, David, 25, 33, 41, 49. By the way, shout out to my buddy Kevin Stroh. He won the Matt Kings contest. I was second. He's very, very good at that stuff, which is slightly annoying. All right. GT, you have your choice. You can go first, second, or third, and you'll get the rotation. So do you want to go first at 25, 33, or 41?
I would like to go first at 141.
Okay. I will go first at 125. Mark certainly took third between us.
Grant?
Yes?
Take care of my small work, will you?
I will take care of it.
I appreciate it.
Light work.
Small.
All right. I'm in 20. You guys have to help me keep track of the order. All right. I have Dean Peterson by decision over Taylor or Lordson. So if I'm first here, GT has to be second here. GT, who you got?
Dean Peterson by major.
Mark.
Dean Peterson by major.
Okay, 33. Mark, Mark, you're first here. This is a very interesting matchup at the rankings.
It is.
Okay, let me say it out loud for people that are Jacob Van D against Drake Ayala.
I'm going to take Drake Ayala by decision.
Okay. So I am second here. I will as well, but I'm telling you, if Drake loses this one, I'm off the train. GT?
Drake by decision.
GT, you're first at 141. You specifically, Pink, wanted the Brock Hardy Nasir Bailey match, so it's all yours. Go ahead.
Brock Hardy by tech fall.
I like that pick so much. You actually just changed my mind. Mark, you're second. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. And I thought I'm going to take Brock Hardy by a major, but I tech fall. But I could see him getting on top, doing some serious damage. And I've seen Nasir just fold like a
lawn chair.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, just quits. Let's hope it's a new Nasir, and I'm gonna take Hardy by major, and that's wrestling well.
Yeah, I would say that why I just have a lot of this is more of like a positive note towards Hardy, that I think that he's a monster. I think he's a really great. This is not a knock towards Nasir, but I think that Hardy is just really, really talented on top. And I think that Nasir hasn't really shown me a lot underneath to be able to do that. And I think also if Nasir shoots, I think Hardy like scoots around him, cradles him a little bit like that. So I think it's just a tactical thing. It's more of like, I'm very high on Hardy. I'm not necessarily down on Bailey, but
I don't understand why you don't think he's good underneath, because in the last match I watched him, he just laid on his stomach for 2 minutes, but didn't give up any points, so that's pretty good.
He's got
Right?
good freestyle defense.
Mini Christmas. All right. Yeah. I agree 100%, Grant. I'm going to switch my pick. I'm going to take Hardy by fall.
There you go.
Are you really?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, I'm going to go major. Not that anybody cares for my pick.
Not right now. No, not right now.
I got skipped, GT. Somehow I got skipped.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's like the Zuckerberg line. I'm giving you the minimal amount of attention that you deserve. So, all right, 49. This is a very interesting match. I thought Ryder Block actually wrestled Van Ness well. Okay, he got the first takedown. He was in the seatbelt position a second time. He got cross ankle picked from there and landed in a Turk. And that's like a 10-point swing, like 3 for Block versus 7 for Van Ness. That ended up making it a major. I had picked a major in that pool, but it was a sneaky major, and these majors are way easier to get now with these 7-point takedowns. So anyway, Lamer, Ryder Block. I'm going to go first, or it's my turn to go first. And Lamer did not wrestle against Minnesota. They wrestled Zinkin. I'm going to pick Block by decision. I'm going to say decision / no, I'll just say decision. But I think a much closer decision against Lamer than it would be against Zinkin. I don't know who's second here. I think
Grant.
it's okay.
So do we know if Lamer is wrestling or no?
Make it your pick both ways.
I think Block wins both, but I think it's a lot closer of a match with Lamer. But I'm going to take Ryder by decision by either guy.
That's
but
what
I think I think it's a tightly contested match if Lamer wrestles.
Yeah, same here. Mark.
I'm going to take Lamer over Block, and then I'll take Block over Zinkin.
Okay. All right. 157. I don't think we talked about this on the air. So we talked about off the air the Minnesota-Nebraska duel, and it was completely chalk. Mark, you and I had picked it 7-3. It ended up being 6-4 because Zinkin wrestled and Drew Roberts beat him instead of Lamer beating Drew Roberts in the rankings.
Yep.
But the match swung. Charlie Millard was beating Antrell Taylor. It was 1-1. Millard get a takedown. Antrell Taylor gets kind of a reversal and lets him go, so it's the same as an escape. And then Antrell Taylor tries to score. They get in a scramble. It looks like Millard's got him dead to rights. And Antrell Taylor just kind of sits through and ends up over-under, puts him on his back, and it wasn't even one count, and Millard just laid flat and got pinned. Now, just so people understand how close that duel was, Ferrari won, but he won 2-1 on riding time. If somehow Hopke wins that match becomes 15-15 if Millard just arches his neck. So, anyway, Antrell Taylor, Jordan Williams, this might be the match of the weekend to watch.
Yeah, I think I go first on this one, David, if I'm not mistaken.
Even if not, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to take Antrell Taylor by a major decision.
Okay. GT?
I'm going to take Jordan Williams by decision.
Boy, we were so far off. I must be missing something. I don't know.
I just thought Jordan wrestled really well against PJ Duke.
I thought he did too.
I know that, Antrell Taylor doesn't look like the guy that he was last year as much. Now, I think,
right. Yeah.
And I think, once again, I think Iowa's a better team than what maybe like on paper, but I think Iowa sometimes like pulls out wins that are toss-up matches. And I truly think that like Antrell Taylor is really, really, really good. I just think that maybe Jordan snakes him and Antrell has another bad loss. I think Antrell is going to place higher than him at nationals, but I think in this duel, I think Iowa needs some wins. And I don't think that they're going to get much of them up in the top matchups.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I'm saying that is because I think I'm leaning heavily towards Nebraska in like maybe the last 4 weights. But I just think it's going to be a tighter match than people think. So that's just. I could be completely wrong, and I will pay all of the wings to all of you guys, and you'll get extra sides of carrots and celery.
All right. GT, you're first at 65. LJ Arujao, Mikey Caliendo.
Whoa. David, you need to make a pick on that weight.
Antrell.
Okay.
Decision.
Decision?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I feel like my picks have just been sort of no one cares anymore. I will just say what my picks were afterwards and win the wins.
No, that's not how we're doing it, but go ahead.
All right, go ahead. GT, sorry. Arujao, Caliendo.
I'm going to take Caliendo by decision.
I'm going to take Caliendo by major.
Arujao's, I've never really seen him wrestle, but I've watched him a few times. He's really long and lanky. And
TT just said, I've never seen him wrestle, but I've watched him wrestle.
Early, I'd never seen him wrestle, and everybody was talking about him. And then I saw him, and I go, geez, the kid's like 7'2". He's just really hard to do things to. And
that's why I'm picking Caliendo to major him. I think he can get to his legs and finish. And I think Caliendo's always bounced back really hard after he's lost a mess and break.
So I'm taking Caliendo to win, but I think it's just going to be a decision. I think he's going to struggle getting through the length of this young man.
Okay. 74. Chris Minto, Kennedy. I'm going to take Minto. I think his length gives Kennedy problems. I'm not really sure why Kennedy didn't wrestle last weekend, but I'm taking, and Mark, you know this, Minto was probably the number one guy I wanted in our league last year in the contest based on where he was seated and how good I thought he was. Who's second here? I guess it's UGT.
I'm going to take Minto by decision as well.
Okay. Mark?
And then I'll go against the grain. I'll take Kennedy by decision.
Okay. 84, Silas Allred, Ferrari. I think, Mark, you're first here.
Oh, man, I want to take Allred so bad right now. Just because we have no offense, but neither of these two guys do a lot. So I'm gonna think Angelo is gonna be really ticked off. So I'm gonna take Angelo by a major. I'm gonna say he turns it on and shows you that he can actually wrestle because he's got a lot of pride.
Okay. GT.
I'm gonna take Ferrari by decision.
I have Ferrari by decision. Okay, 97, obviously it's not Endine. It's Cam McDaniel against either. This is where I think we could see Ludington. Okay, and by the way, Tom Brand said a lot in the press conference, but one of the things he did say is Patrick Kennedy is our 174-pounder. So I think Gabe Arnold's got to decide if he's going to go 197 or not. I don't even know if they're going to give him that option. It does not feel like they're super happy with him. But anyway, let's say it's Cam McDaniel against, I guess it's Brody Sampson, Harvey Ludington, Gabe Arnold. So, GTU are on this rotation. You're first.
I'm going to take Cam McDaniel by a major.
I will as well. I will take the caveat if it's Gabe Arnold is the decision. You would like that?
I would agree there because I think Gabe does a good enough job to keep things close.
That's right.
And that's where I'd fall in that same category.
Okay. All right. AJ, hey, and by the way, Mark, I did say this correctly. I got the pick wrong, but I did say to you when we picked 184, can we just start in the rideouts? Did I not?
I'm sorry. What did you say, David? Say that one more time.
Rocco Welsh Ferrari. I'm like, can we just start this match in the rideouts because no one's going to attack for 9 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Another match where I expect.
But you also thought AJ would ride him out and win by the rideout.
And yeah, I said I got the pick wrong, Mark. Listen to the whole statement.
Oh, boy. Listen to you. Grant, you and I are going to have a long talk when we're done today.
All right. Here's another match with a high volume of activity, we assume, Ferrari and Keeter. I don't know who's – oh, wait, I'm first here. I'll take Ferrari on riding time. I'm going to be very specific. Maybe one takedown, maybe, but Ferrari decision. Mark?
Grant? Okay. What do I have the duel at right now?
GT got Iowa winning 1 matches, 2 matches, 3 matches, 4 matches, 5 matches. You have Iowa winning 6 matches. So you have 6-3 Iowa at this point. I can go into bonus if that matters to you.
Well, because I have Hardy with a tech, I have Minto with a decision, and I have Cam McDaniel with a major, correct?
Yeah,
Yep.
you have an 18-9 without bonus, 20-9, 20. You have a 20-12.
2012 Iowa.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be probably 20. I think AJ Ferrari gets a major decision.
20-16. Okay.
There you go.
All right. You have 2016 Iowa. Okay. Mark, you're picking Keeter.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm gonna
When
take
you ping ponged it over to Grant, I already knew you were picking Keeter.
I don't know though. I mean, I think AJ's actually probably gonna win. I think he's a better wrestler than Ben Keeter. I think he's a bigger heavyweight right now.
You don't get to hedge. Who are you picking?
But neither of them do anything. That's the problem. And
Well, one
Ben
of them
Keeter-
rides a lot better than the other one.
Dude, does he really? If you think about it, not
He won
not
on
so
riding
much.
time. He beat Hopkey.
Oh,
Rode him for a
you
minute.
know what? I'm going to go with Ben Keeter. I'm going to show you. Ben Keeter will ride him out for the win.
Okay, here's what you got, Mark. You have Iowa winning 1 match, 2 match, 3, 4, 5 matches, and you have them with 1, 2 bonus. So you have Iowa with 17. You have Nebraska getting a fall and 2 majors. So you have it 15, 20. You have a 20-17 Nebraska.
Okay.
I have it. GT doesn't even care what I have it. Iowa's winning 1 match, 2 match, 3 matches, 4 matches, 5 matches with 1 bonus. I have Nebraska with 2 bonus. I have the most entertaining duel at 17-16 Nebraska. So
Yeah, I've heard those numbers before, and that didn't work out so good last weekend.
let me tell you this, 17-16 Nebraska will be way closer to the final outcome than 16-15 Iowa. Okay. You were off net 30. If you want to give me 10, I guarantee you I win that one.
Yeah.
So, all right. I will be a couple of other news. I will be at Mizzou Friday night to watch Oklahoma State and Mizzou. Couple of very interesting matches there. I think 57's interesting. Teague Travis and Rabideau. Stanford wrestles Virginia Tech on Friday night. There'll be some really good matches there. Ohio State wrestles Minnesota Friday night. Obviously, some good matches there. Ohio State wrestles Nebraska. Oh my gosh, on Sunday.
That's a duel.
All right, so GT, put a note. We're going to need your picks for Ohio State, Nebraska. And Mark and I.
That's on Sunday?
It's on Sunday, but we'll do the pod on either Thursday or Friday, depending on Mark's schedule. Let me make sure I got this right. Ohio State's at Nebraska. Yes, Ohio State's in Nebraska. Okay, I got it.
We might have a guest on. We might have to do it Friday afternoon, Friday evening, David. We might have a guest speaker Friday. So
Who's that?
I'll be in Chicago, so Ben might be able to get on the podcast and make his picks for the Ohio State-Nebraska duel.
All right, I'll be on the road to Mizzou.
Oh, well, then we might have an issue.
No, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, before we leave, I wanted to shout out to Iowa Central for winning the junior college national duels. They beat Western Wyoming in the finals.
It's a big win. Western Wyoming's like the defending champ, so congratulations.
Yeah. Actually, it was they weren't the defending champs last year. Indian Hills won it last year.
No, the NJCA champions.
Yes.
Not the dual champs.
Yeah. So
congrats to those teams. That's good for them. GT, congrats to Grandview for beating Kearney, and congrats to both those teams for actually choosing to wrestle each other. Like in an age where a lot of things we're talking about ducking and things like that. Congratulations to 2 premier, not the same division teams laying it on the line. So, and also shout out North Central beat Life U last week in women's. So North Central has beat Iowa and Life U back to back. Pretty crazy. So, all right. For Grant and Mark, I'm David. We appreciate you guys, your support. We appreciate you guys subscribing and liking and watching, and we will see you in a couple days.